Hi, Genki Call here with Wild Plains Week in Gems of War for the week of July 17th, 2023. There's a lot to go over. We have the new 7.0 update coming tomorrow. Um, can't really tell you anything about it right now, but I will try to get lots of videos out to you to explain all of the new stuff as quickly as I can. That is not today. That is not till tomorrow. In the meantime, let's go over what we do have. And before I forget, I want to mention that Beltane is now available in the chests. This guy is from Pan's Vale. He converts blue gems to green, purple gems to yellow, gives 1 to 3 random status effects to all allies, and these things. So this is not something you can get from an event chest. It's any other chest. He is a legendary though, so if you can't, you won't be able to get him with gold keys, for instance. All right, so let's not go over troops yet. Let's head into the shop and grab our resources. If you can afford to get 10 of these, it's a fantastic deal for 10 event keys. And then head over into the weekly event and grab the Tauros Guardian. This guy is going to come with the Arcane Swamp trait stones. These trait stones are so nice to have, and if you're lower level, really nice not to have to grind for them. If you can get this up to mythic level, once you can start doing this every week, you'll have a level 20 troop for your kingdom when you need it for your power level. So that's why I do this every single week. I'm going to grab this and get all of these lovely rewards along with it. And we'll go over what it does in a minute. Yeah, let's go ahead and head in here. I'll show you what you can get with your event keys. So, let's sort this by base rarity. There are 3 mythics in the drop table, and the Lord of Slaughter is arguably the best one you can possibly get this week, and Tereos is arguably, again, the worst one you can get this week, but let's go over them. Ketris the Bull is going to do splash damage. That means the most he can hit is 3 troops, but they have to be touching. You'll do full damage to whichever one you target, and then anything touching it will get half that damage. That information is right here. Boosted by my attack, life, and armor with a 2-to-1 ratio. So you add all of these together, divide by 2, and you add that to the amount of splash damage that he's going to do. He gains 2 attack, armor, and life when matching red gems, and has a little bit of skull damage reduction. Next up is Tereus. This is damage to all enemies. Very nice, boosted by my attack, life, and armor. Then knock the first enemy to the back. Now, the reason why this guy is not generally liked is because of this. It's a 10-to-1 boost ratio. It is damage to all enemies, but you add all these together, divide by 10, and then you add it to this amount. It's pitiful. However, it is going to work in the world event because you get a boost from your badges and your medals. It will make the early levels nice and fast. Attack to all red allies with matching red gems and a little bit of skull damage. He's immune to stun. Very nice. Lord of Slaughter. Oh, I love my skull spamming. This guy creates 6 brown gems, then converts all brown gems to doom skulls, inflicts 1 to 2 bleeds and 1 to 2 death marks on random enemies. I don't even pay attention to those things. It's the brown gems to doom skulls for me. And it's not just brown gems to doom skulls. He's going to add extra brown gems to the board, and so generally speaking, you are going to absolutely wipe the board. You're going to have it flooded with doom skulls that are each worth 5 damage. Fantastic. He summons a Doomstorm at the start of the battle and 100% chance to do true damage with skulls. 100%. You're going to ignore their armor unless he is stunned, in which case that won't work. But he only has a little bit of skull damage reduction, so putting him at the front of the team makes him a little bit squishy, but I still love it. I love this troop. He's so fun for me. Chief Stronghorn is next. Let's show all here just in case. I'm sure I have everything, but Chief Stronghorn, he's okay. Pull an enemy to the front. deal damage to them boosted by my attack, life, and armor. It's a 3-to-1 ratio. That means you add all these together, divide by 3, and add it to this, and that's how much splash damage or not splash, just damage he's going to do. All Tauros gain some attack, life, and armor on 4+ gem matches, immune to Devour. Next up, we have Hydra. Hydra is interesting. Hydra, yeah. It's really hard to describe this without actually showing you, but he does scatter damage boosted by his missing life. Whatever his missing life is, you take that and you multiply it by 2, and that will add on to the scatter damage. If you work it right, you can have him one-shot the enemy team. If you work it right. So here's how that works. You keep healing him, you keep healing him, you keep him at the front of the team, right? Keep him at the front of the team until his armor breaks. You don't cast him until his armor is broken, and you do at least 1 damage. It's going to do this. There's something about this troop that even 1 damage is going to make a big difference to this. It's only ×2, but it's not calculating correctly. And the higher your health is, the more damage he's going to do with that, even with 1 damage to him. It's a little bit squishy. It's a little weird. I'll try to showcase it at some point, but I did put it in my world event video, but I wasn't able to really show it because I was too low level. King Minos, you will not be able to get. He's from the Labyrinth. That's in the Underworld. Use your Chaos Shards to get this guy. Sorry, I just hit my microphone. Queen Moonclaw creates 9 skulls, boosted by green allies and enemies, and summons a random null. This can be good with other skull spammers, for instance, using it with any other skull spammer when there's already a ton of skulls on the board. You're likely, but not guaranteed, to get a match for. But she does summon just in case. And yeah, that's it. Banejaw. Oh, Banejaw. This is a really good kingdom for Guild Wars. And here's why. Banejaw is going to do damage to an enemy. Yeah, you have a chance to hit the wrong enemy, but if they're all using purple, it doesn't matter. Because with your spell, you're going to do triple damage if they use purple. And if the enemy dies, create 8 skulls. Also, you do double skull damage versus purple enemies. So, and he becomes enraged when an enemy dies. So, yeah, really, really good for Purple Guild Wars defense. No. Yes, defense. Purple Guild Wars defense. This one is good for red defense for Guild Wars because it's the same thing, 50% chance to hit the wrong enemy, but he does triple damage on red. He does double skull damage to red. He has a little skull damage reduction, not quite as good as this guy who gets that enraged, but also very good for Guild Wars. Next is the Cloud Stalker, who does damage to an enemy. If they're a tower, you get that 3 to 5 times damage with your spell regardless. If you have it traded, you also get the skull damage boost. Based on Ascension, that means at base rarity, you're going to do the 3 times damage. At Mythic, you do the 5 times damage. Legendary, of course, will do the 4 times damage. Breathe. Oh, I talk too much. Earthcaller. This one is our God Slayer, so the same thing I just said about the Siegebreaker. The other one was for towers. This is for any boss, including the ones in the dungeon, if they have a red border. Zolgoth. Any of the gem dragons, you're going to do that 3 to 5 times damage, so it's really good for using against any boss troop. Next we have, you won't be able to get this, Labyrinth. Mongo, something random happens, which makes him fun in Arena, because you never know what's going to happen, but if, if you just want to mess around and challenge yourself, he might devour. He might explode 1 gem. He might do something very useful. He may do something that helps you not 1 bit. But he does do double skull damage versus stunned enemies regardless, as long as he himself is not stunned. And he's impervious. Next up is the Pyro Hydra. This guy does scatter damage boosted by burning enemies, and you're going to burn 1 to 3 enemies. And then you're going to do double skull damage versus burn enemies as well. You have some skull damage reduction, and you're going to inflict burn when enemies deal skull damage to you. Next up is Scleros. This guy is fun. He's a troll, but for skulls. Double the number of skulls on the board and then create 2 skulls. Oh, it's fun. It's very fun. Hold on a second. Goodness gracious, sorry about that. I needed some water. Yeah, Scleros is great, and pair him with any skull spammer, and you're gonna just flood the board with skulls. Super cool, super fun. And he's in Undying and this other stuff. Next is Spirit Tooth. Spirit Tooth is going to do damage to an enemy and create 3 Spirit Gems. Spirit Gems are the ones that drain mana. They are blue. I wish that they would put that information here. As a matter of fact, I'm going to take a screenshot and mention that. Double skull damage versus red enemies. So this could be good to stick up at the front of the team on Red Guild Wars Day if you don't have the better cards. This is an option, I suppose. Next is the Storm Chaser. This one destroys 1 row for each elemental enemy. So at max, you'll get 4 or 5. I'm not sure which. I would think, I mean, it's going to destroy 1 row. No, it doesn't. It doesn't. It doesn't destroy any rows unless there's an elemental enemy. I remember now. But it is going to do some scatter damage regardless. And summons a Firestorm at the start of battle. Well, a lot of Tauros use red, so I guess that makes sense, but it does not feed back into himself. Sunweaver is going to give attack, armor, and life to an ally, then give 6 mana to them. It's not a lot. It's only magic +2, but, you know, since if you're limited to Tauros allies or most of the Tauros have a boost for their attack, life, and armor. I guess I shouldn't say most of them. A lot of them have a boost from their attack, life, and armor. So she hits all 3 of them, just not very hard. Unless you hit her with something like the Emperor or the Empress, which will make her give a lot more. Anyway, I digress. Wildfang, another great for Guild Wars. You see him all the time. He does double skull damage versus yellow enemies. He starts battles with 50% mana, skull damage reduction, triple damage to yellow, and yeah, really, really good for Yellow Guild Wars Day. Next is the Berserker. This one does a range of damage to an enemy boosted by attack, life, and armor. Add these all together, divide by 3 to get that boost. And if the enemy dies, become enraged. He does have skull damage reduction, so you can run him at the front of the team. Gorgon explodes a row, does splash damage to the first enemy. That's very... it's very inefficient because splash damage, you want it to be able to hit 3 targets, and you can't do that if it's hitting the first enemy. At most, you're going to be able to hit the first enemy and the second enemy if it's not already dead. Otherwise, you're only going to hit the first. But it will knock them to the back as well. Skull damage reduction by 50%. Start mana with battles with 50% mana as well. Minigar. This one does damage to an enemy boosted by attack, life, and armor. If their attack is weaker, deal double damage. Super nice if they are lower level than you, I suppose. And 50% chance to ignore armor with skull damage. This is the true damage like... My bad, sorry. The Lord of Slaughter does, but it's a 50% chance on this one. Ooh, but the Enrage is really nice. No skull damage reduction, however. Next is Rhinotar. Rhinotar. Explode either a row or a column. You don't know what you're going to get. Knock the first enemy to the back. Or last enemy to the front. My bad. Skull damage reduction. Become enraged when an enemy dies. He's from the Labyrinth. You can't get him. I'm so sorry. I was not paying attention. Ignore that. You can't get Rhinotar with your event keys. Sorry. You will be able to get the Tauros Guardian, however. The Tauros Guardian... as of a couple of hours ago, he was broken. He was not working properly, which we found out in the beta test. They said that they were going to put out an update for this troop around reset, so hopefully he has been fixed now. He's going to gain attack, life, and armor. If there are 13 or more red gems on the board, create 9 skulls. He wasn't doing the second part of the spell before, but he is now, hopefully. Let me know down in the comments below if he's working properly, because I have not tested it. Skull damage reduction by 25%. He becomes enraged when an enemy dies as well. Next we have, let me make sure I didn't miss, yes, Winged Bison. Transform all purple gems to red. 40% chance to summon a Winged Bison summoned by, or boosted by the gems transformed. So every purple gem on the board is an extra 2% chance to summon another Winged Bison, which, you know, basically just a meat shield. Skull damage reduction by 20%. Bonus green mana from green gem matches, which will help feed into himself as well. And then we have the Bullet. You know this troop if you've ever done any delving. You hate this troop if you've ever done any fight against him. Knock the first enemy to the back. Deal damage to the new first enemy with a 50% chance to devour them if there are 13 or more brown gems. Oh, I hate fighting this guy. Meh. Immune to devour himself, immune to stun, and skull damage reduction by 50%. Meh, Bullet. Null is another great one for Guild Wars, only this one is for brown enemies. Triple damage to brown enemies with the spell and double on the skulls. A little bit of skull damage reduction, and again, another one that becomes enraged when an enemy dies. So this is another one that's super good for at the higher end of this type of troop. Can't get this one, is from the Labyrinth. Midge Swarm. If you're using it in a delve or in an event with medals and badges, he's going to work a lot better. This is scatter damage to all enemies twice. It's the only troop in the game that does something like this. So actually, you double that number. It's 100, for me, 106 scatter damage. But the nice thing about it doing it twice is the first time it goes through, it'll break barriers. And so if you weren't able to hit him the first time, you're definitely going to hit him the second time. And this one, poison enemies when doing skull damage, and disease when doing skull damage as well. And disease will make them, it says right here, it halves the mana the troop gains. We have the Ridgeback. Sometimes I use this in Bounty, usually not, but he does knock an enemy to the back and explode gems of one of their mana colors. You don't get to choose. If they have 3 mana colors, it's going to pick one. If they only have 1 mana color, you know what you're going to get, just for example. Next up is Savage Hunter. You see this in Guild Wars all the time as well. This one is for green mana. So if they use green mana, they're going to get triple damage on them. He becomes enraged when an enemy dies again. Places Hunter's Mark when doing skull damage and does double skull damage versus green enemies. This is hands down the best of this troop type because of the Hunter's Mark and the Enrage. This is number 1 on the list of this type of troop. Next is the Soothsayer. Soothsayer, you choose a purple gem and it's going to destroy either its row or the column. You don't know which one you're going to get, but it's going to grab all of those gems as if you match them and add to your mana, then give 1 to all skills to all other allies. You start empowered and gain bonus brown mana from brown gem matches. Festival Cow, give all other allies your magic plus 1 life. Then it's going to add 5 armor, 3 attack, and 2 magic, and sacrifice itself. So it's going to go moo, dead. And you can summon something in its place if you have that ability. Bonus green bonus green mana from but I can't speak. You know what I meant. The Hyena does damage to an enemy. If the enemy dies, summon 3 hyenas in its place. And it's stealthy, so you can't target it. And finally, the Tauros, who does light splash damage. It says right here what that's going to do. Full damage to whatever you hit. Anything touching it will get 1/4 of this damage. Boosted by attack, life, and armor. But this is a 10-to-1 boost ratio, much like Tereus. And skull damage reduction, bonus green mana from green gem matches. Oh, that was a lot of talking, man. Holy cow. Holy cow. Ooh, ooh. I should be able to do, I hope I can do this today. I haven't looked in the Soul Forge yet, but I will make a separate video for that. I didn't do it last week because I forgot, but I will do that today. I'm going to do it today. I'm sure of it. All right, let's look at events. So, we have no, of course, oh, Guild Wars. Oh, Guild Wars. Don't forget to go into Guild Wars and set your defense teams. I've done all of them already except for one. If you don't know how to do this, then I will link in some videos at the end of this video. In the last 15 seconds, watch for some pop-ups, and I'll add some Guild Wars information there for you to help you out if you don't know what you're doing. Don't forget about Guild Wars, the campaign. No campaign until next week. And let's see what else. I know all the things. Wild Plains troops get plus 10% to their skills, and Tauros. So Tauros from Wild Plains will get plus 20% to their skills this week. And if you take the new Tauros Guardian into PvP, you'll get an extra 5 glory per battle. Next, tomorrow, we have the faction assault at the Labyrinth, the most annoying faction in the game. I almost quit playing the game because of this faction, among other things. I didn't obviously quit, but anyway, Wednesday we have the small P.E.K.K.A. On Thursday we have the Shaman class trial, and this weekend we get a break. What is a Beast Festival? What is a Beast Festival? What? Okay, that's coming up in 27 days. I want to know what that is. Anyway, this weekend we get a break. It's Arena. So, you know, if you like Arena, it's great. You're going to be able to do lots of Arena and get rewards for it. Otherwise, you get a break this weekend. So, I think that's everything. I hope that's everything. If it's not, once again, let me know in the comments down below if I forgot anything. Have a wonderful day or night wherever you may be, and we'll see you soon. Bye-bye!